Well, hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and it is Sunday afternoon, so it's time for us to be talking about coping with stress. And so I just wanted to let you know that it's awesome to have you here today, and thank you for joining in. For those of you who are already here, that's amazing. And hi, Jeannie, good to see you. And also to Jody and to Charlotte. And that's what a nice start to my day. For those of you who don't know, this is the broadcast in which we talk about our stress, but basically what we try to do is just calm everything down for the coming week. So for all of you who are either watching us on the live here in the chat or watching us in the background, because I know a lot of people do that. They want to listen, but they don't necessarily want to participate in the chat. Or those of you who might watch it on the replay, because that's where we leave it. Feel free to leave us comments and do whatever, because that helps other people understand, what is this channel about and what do you like about it? And, your view is as important as anybody else's. By the way, I just want to make sure that you understand any sort of observations I might make, or hi Sandy, any input I might have are based on myself. It's not that I am somebody with a fancy bit of paper or whatever. I am just a human being that's lived a long time, as you can tell. And I've dealt with a few things. And what I like to do is to share with you not only my experience, but that of our support team who is here on board today. So, and that changes week by week and program by program. It's interesting, some people gravitate towards certain ones more than others. And really what we're about here at Dear Mama Sal is helping you cope, and also helping those that you know cope, because it's amazing what you learn here, how automatically you will start sharing it with other people. And we love that. If you have a subject about which you'd like me to speak, please feel free to write to me at dearmamasal@gmail.com, and we will do what we can to incorporate it in one of our broadcasts. Follow us on, let's do the whole thing. Subscribe here, click the bell. If you click the bell, please put all notifications, because all notifications tells you that if ever I put up a comment or something like that, you're going to get that into your email box. And that's really important if I'm doing a surprise broadcast or something. But also make sure you follow us on Facebook. We use that as our sort of notice board. If we have updates, that's where we're trying to do it. And on Twitter. I do reminders I give you about a 35 minute warning of an upcoming broadcast, both on Facebook and on Twitter. And for those of you who follow all the other social media, I am Dear Mama Sal on all of them except one, Instagram. Somebody got there before me. And so the difference is that on Instagram, you'll find me as the real Dear Mama Sal, for obvious reasons. Talking about coping, it's really important for us to understand that coping is something that we all need to be aware of every single day of our lives. And that is what we do here. We hold each other's hands. We're like an extended family of people. And, some of us have good days, and then other days, the same people will be having bad days. Bad days. And why? Because that's life. And so we're going to be talking about coping with stress today, talking about a few simple truths. I've always said that in terms of coping with stress, just so that you know, coping means to invest one's own conscious effort, right? Our own conscious effort to solve personal and interpersonal problems in order to try and master, minimize, or tolerate stress and conflict. Really important. And from the mailbox, first of all, Charlotte, as you're here, let me start with you. I put up a notice just before the broadcast to find out if anybody's dealing with any unusual stress at the moment. And Charlotte replied to say, our Tuckadoodle has surgery for a lump removal tomorrow, which is Monday. And I'm super scared. Last time a pup in the family had a lump. They couldn't do anything. It was between the eye and the ear. And Murphy had to be put down. So I think it's perfectly natural, Charlotte, that you would be pretty stressed out, with that being your experience. I had a dog with a lump where it was benign. So my experience is slightly different from yours. Does that make sense? So I would just ask you to concentrate on the fact that, there is an equal chance that it's going to be just a cyst, not something that is nasty. And until you hear otherwise, and in fact, if you want to help yourself, perhaps work on it is benign unless I hear otherwise. But we all understand, any of us who've had fur babies, we totally understand the stress of that. Yes, and Jeannie's saying that her Misty, a Wheaton Terrier, recently had 2 cysts removed. She is fine, stitches in her head, otherwise, and others on her shoulder. All right, and so think about that. Not all cysts are bad things, but quite honestly, Charlotte, we all understand. And we send you a big hug. And thank you for sharing that with us, because it's important, because I think it's human nature to be a little scared about that, or more than a little scared given your experience. So thank you on that one. And please let us know. And with your permission, Charlotte, I will put up thoughts and prayers after the broadcast if Jody reminds me. It's interesting. Charlotte's saying, plus her father is also going to have the first of 3 stitches lasered out of his eye. He had surgery a week ago. Okay, and Charlotte would like thoughts and prayers put up. All right, so let's do those. Do both of those, Jody, if we can, both for Tucker and for her father and the stitches in his eye. Yeah, it's amazing. I keep thinking, Charlotte, how lucky we are. That if you think about it, 20 years ago, that eye surgery probably wouldn't be possible. And that's the way that I like to think about it. And for those of you who are stressed today, give a thought for a moment for the 4 astronauts who are on the SpaceX, that they're in the SpaceX capsule waiting to take off. I don't know if they've taken them out again, but I heard that just after they got them in, they found a problem. And, the SpaceX rocket is a geo go for launch. Yay, okay. I'm watching it at the same time because that's pretty historic, isn't it? A private company now doing a manned space thing. Can you imagine the stress of that? Yes, it's happening, literally as during the broadcast. So what I've done is I've kept the television on so I can update you, and we all pray for their safety. So I also had another comment from, this is from Lorraine. And she wrote, you remember I did some time ago, I did a quick video about how to clean a ceramic pan. And I use salt. And Lorraine very kindly sent me a note this week on that video and said you can use baking soda or powder. Hang on, let me just check that. Soda. Baking soda also works. So there you go. And I thought, that's just a really nice update on that one. For those of you who remember Dotty Dot, she had a comment last week, and I've got another one from her this week, and it says, you remember the video we did about my hair, or the little clip I did about my hair? She said, your hair is beautiful. I love the parting tip. That's where I part my hair. And let me just see if I can show you this. I put my fingers like this, and I part my hair like that, so that different bits of my hair go different ways. You can probably see that a bit there. So it's not a straight part, and that helps give it a bit more lift. And now I've messed it up. So thank you for that. The quote of the day that I want to give you is actually my own. How about that one for something? And that is, today we're going to be concentrating on simple truths. And I've always said that thinking about something doesn't change it. Doing something does. And I've got lots of examples today that I want to share with you, personal examples, that I hope that you also, hi Sandy, that you also will think about your own simple truths. You know, when you're on a broadcast and I want to tell you a simple truth, I say, you know, I've got a 2x4 ready. Are you ready for it? Because sometimes the truth can hurt. But you know that you're really growing emotionally when you can do your own 2x4s. You know, you don't need me to give you one. You already worked it out before I ever get near you. And so from that perspective, I've got some personal examples that I wanted to share with you about the simple truths about sitting there and thinking about it. Yeah, that sort of stuff is great. But the only thing that changes anything is when you do something, and 9 times out of 10, do something differently. So let me give you what was happening to me. Ever since, now for those of you who don't know, just over a month ago, my house caught fire. I'm living in a rented, furnished apartment, which is very pretty, thank you, with the beautiful quilt that Pat sent me and another one on my bed. But you know, I noticed that my weight went up and my blood glucose went up accordingly. Now, I've got a lot of really kind people in my life, including Jody, our admin, and Lauren, and the rest of you that are part of the fitness group. You've all been really good in supporting me. But as I've said many, many times, I keep a really close check on myself. And the check that I keep on myself is this a very valid excuse? In other words, people said, well, it's bound to happen, Sal, because of all the stress you've been under. Yeah, but that doesn't change anything, all right? The amount of stress I've been under does not change my blood glucose except push it up. So therefore, I need to change something. Does that make sense? That's a simple truth. If I want my blood glucose to come down a bit, by the way, it's not horrific, it's just higher than normal. So if I want to change that, I've got to change something that I'm doing. My weight, I put on, you know, almost all the weight I lost this year. Why? Because I moved, because of all the stress, because all the excuses in the world. But the truth is, if I want to get rid of it again, does it make sense that the simple truth is, as Benji always said to me, you know, and I always loved that, was one of the greatest things he ever said to me was, Sal, if you want to lose weight, watch what you're putting in your mouth. Yeah. So the simple truth is, if you, like me, need to lose weight, then one of the things you need to do is change what you're eating. The other thing is, I noticed that since I've been here, I've been getting far less exercise. You know, I'm not walking down to the mailbox, you know, and doing things like that. I'm slug-like, you know, I mean, literally, that's what it feels like. So I was recording every day and reporting it because that's what we do. And when, you know, I wanted to be accountable. So I've done that, but is that going to change my blood glucose? No. You see, the only thing that's going to change it is when I do something different. Because if I keep doing what I've always done, I'm going to keep on getting what I've always had, right? So that's a no-brainer. You know, when I wanted to give up smoking, you know, I had to stop putting cigarettes in my mouth. It was quite simple. Well, it sounded quite simple, but it wasn't, was it? So you guys are very smart. So if you wanted to lose weight this week, what things would you recommend? Let's see what you would recommend, and let's see how many of them I did. You're going, I want to drop my blood sugar and I want to lose weight. By the way, the one will create the other, because whatever I do to lower my blood sugar would obviously be part of eating better, and therefore it would also affect my weight. And the reason I'm saying, I want to give the viewers in the chat room here a chance to tell me what they would do, because they are also people who are regulars and they're accountable, and they know that excuses is not going to change anything. So what would you recommend? All right, Jody says, my go-to is intermittent fasting, keeping the carbs in check. Right, so for those of you who don't know what intermittent fasting is, it's when you decide that I'm not going to eat for so many hours a day, and I will only eat on the remainder of the hours of the day. Now, I find what works really well for me is 15 to 16 hours. Today I did 15 because I wanted to eat something before the broadcast, but normally I would do 16 or even 17. Now that sounds terrible, but it actually is a lot easier than you think. And what I do is I just drink warm water with lemon and orange in it. That's, I drop a couple of bits of lemon and a couple of bits of orange into water, and then I just keep it warm. I've got one of those coffee makers here. It's not a Keurig, it's one of the older type ones. And I just, will fill it up, fill my mug up. This actually has got coffee in it, but I will fill my mug up and just leave it on the coffee warmer part of the coffee machine. And I just keep filling them up and rotating them. So intermittent fasting, I did, Jody, and I'll give you the results in a second. Jeannie's saying more exercise. Yes. Eating a good breakfast with some protein. Yes. But my breakfast doesn't start until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So Jeannie, I still agree with you. So what did I have? I've done those things. The other thing I did, which I want to add to this, was if I'm really serious about changing my blood glucose, the amount of sugar in my blood, then the first thing I know I need to do is to meal prep. Because obviously where the problem is when I go to get some food, it's the wrong food. So in terms of what Jeannie's saying, I actually allow myself, Jeannie, the first thing I eat is actually a treat. Isn't that funny? Yeah, hydration is really important as well. So that's why I've been drinking the orange and lemon flavored water. The first thing that I have every day is I allow myself a piece of bread about this big, which I make. I make my own multigrain sourdough. And I'd have that with some peanut butter on it. So there's your protein. And funny enough, I know you're saying, but you eat bread and you're trying to drop your blood glucose. Yes, I allow myself one piece every morning. Actually, it's smaller than that. It's about that big. Every morning with, and I can choose. I can either have some Smucker's raspberry, no sugar added, raspberry type jam, or I will have some peanut butter. And that's what I break my fast with. And then, funnily enough, Jeannie, in terms of the real protein stuff, I'm inclined to eat that for lunch. So, for example, for lunch today, I have got a boiled egg, I think 3 pieces of deli ham, some Laughing Cow cheese. I'm looking over there because the meal prep is there, and some carrots, chopped up carrots. Oh, tip of the day for those of you who might want it. It's a really good idea if you are going to put carrots into your meal prepping. I find it really helps if you just put them in the microwave for about a minute. It just softens them up so they're not as difficult to eat. just thought I'd mention that. Some of you might appreciate that. So absolutely, number one thing, yes, and Jeannie's saying, I do not see anything wrong with a small piece of bread or an English muffin. No, and that's what I found out. You see, thank goodness I had Jody as my coach early on, because I don't deny myself the things that I really want, you know, and my own homemade multigrain sourdough is something I really want. So I made myself a loaf and I just cut it up, and then every day I allow myself a slice. Some days I allow myself 2 slices. For example, probably tomorrow morning I will have baked beans on toast. Baked beans being the protein, and on a piece of toasted bread. Yum, yum. So that was the first thing. The next thing I did, and some of you know this, to get rid of my stress levels, even though, you know, subconsciously, obviously, my body was having some problem with the fact that I had put on the weight. And it's not good for me to have put on the weight again. So as you know, I got myself a secondhand Wii, W-I-I. Nobody wants a secondhand Wii, the other one. Anyway, a secondhand Wii, and I managed to pick it up for under $100. And for those of you who have been watching the Facebook feed, you will notice that I put up that I found this funny cord and I couldn't work out what it was for. And I found out what that cord is for. It is actually a cord that is used in a charger, and they did not give me a charger with it. So you guess now I'm going to be having a look, do I really need a charger? What I've got is rechargeable batteries. So that's the same sort of thing as far as I'm concerned, as long as I've got 2 sets. Jody's making a mention, multigrain is a perfect choice rather than white bread. Yes, I know that. You taught me that early on. And that's why, if you remember, that's why I became an expert at making sourdough bread. Multigrain sourdough bread. And it's amazing how many people love it. You know, people who've tried it went, wow, you know, you should be selling this. And I'm going, well, I was on a mission. Yeah, and Jody's saying that she's glad that the mystery of the cord is solved. Yes, it took me nearly a week to find out what it was. All right, so I connected up the Wii. Now, I wondered if any of you want to see me try and do some of the things on the Wii, because if so, I will put it in as a broadcast. It'll be very funny, obviously, watching me try and do that. But I guess the thing that you want to know is, has it made a difference? Right? I'm noticing that there's a bit of a glitch on my end. So if it glitches your side, no, I'm aware of it because it's happening my side as well. All right. So Jody is saying, you know, please show us. I need to learn too. Well, I want to tell you something, Jody. It is really interesting, but I certainly would be glad to show you. But what I wanted to make sure is you understand is not that I've got it, but has it made a difference? Between the meal prepping and doing the Wii for 30 minutes actually I've been doing closer to an hour every day. Has it made any difference in less than a week? And the answer is yes. With the combination of those 2 things, I have already lost 2.5 pounds, and my blood sugar was back to, sorry, I have to look because I have to give you both languages. My blood sugar my morning blood sugar, which is my bad one, was down to 6.4 Canadian, which is 115 in American. And that's the first time it's been there since I moved, I think. So what I want you to understand is I could have carried on using the excuse, of course I've had stress, of course, you know, be kind to myself, you know. By the way, I also have been struggling with a cold. I had lots of good excuses. But you see, my passion was not to keep giving the reasons. My passion was to change the numbers. Do you understand the simple truth of that? Which is, do I want to carry on giving the reasons, which are all perfectly valid as far as everybody was concerned? Everybody I've discussed it with said, but Sal, give yourself a break. And I don't want a break. But, you know, it's like, really? And I'm going, no. I want to change my weight and my blood glucose. So I need to deal with the simple truth. What changes my weight and my blood glucose is what I put in my mouth and how much I move my body. And as Jeannie so rightly says, whenever you move, it helps out. So what I like about the Wii is that it's fun. Mind you, I just got to warn you, Jody, for when you get yours, the fitness test at the beginning is not necessarily fun. It starts you off with this really nice, slim-looking avatar, and then it weighs you. When it weighs you, you know, it now knows that you are obese, or I am, and it changes your body accordingly. That was not fun. I went from this really nice, shapely little avatar to, and, you know, but it did make me laugh. Hi, Nyasha, good to see you. Oh, she's doing a project for a family member. Good for you. Well, we send you a big hug, Nyasha, and well done. I'm so proud of how you're changing your life. Really, you are such a great inspiration for a lot of people. So the main thing is, do you understand that I didn't carry on with the reasons? I concentrated on the solutions. Simple truth. So now I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the pandemic. The simple truth is, it is winter. We discussed this some time ago, that things would get worse. And if you were part of the discussion when we did that, you haven't been surprised, I'm sure. The simple truth is, when everybody goes inside instead of being outside, when everybody goes inside, you know, the pandemic is going to spike. We knew that. And so I don't think any of my viewers have been surprised at all, because we've been talking about it for months. However, did you also start restocking the pantry? I'm still shopping from my own pantry in my other house, because, you know, I stocked up well enough that even though it's getting scarce in the stores, you know, I can go to my house and go and shop there. Jeannie's saying, simple truth. I bought something that was too rich, coffee cakes, half regular and the other half with apples. What did I do? I cut them into quarters and took them to the vet's office for the staff who love them. Yes, this is the other thing, isn't it, Jeannie? It's not that you can't have that. It's just how much do you want to have? And I found one way is even if I cut it into quarters, if I don't put it in the freezer, if I leave it in my fridge, I will still eat it. But, you know, the other thing is that I can do that. Jeannie's saying she's stocking up on coffee beans. I probably have enough coffee in my house. Luckily, they didn't take it away. I've got probably enough coffee for a year, I think. Nyasha's asking, is there a spike somewhere? Yes, there's a horrific spike in the US, and it's a bad spike here in Canada, but our spike isn't in the same numbers as yours. You know, ours is in the low thousands, and in the US, it's over 100,000 a day, which is scary. I think 120,000. Am I correct in that? And nearly 250,000 deaths already in the US. I mean, that's pretty scary, isn't it? So what I wanted to make sure is that when you do your shopping, remember the rule. Right now, whenever you can, buy as big as you can. In other words, I needed to buy flour this week. I bought another 10-pound bag because it was available. Just think about that. You know, if you're going to buy peanut butter, don't buy the small one, buy as big as you can, just in case there's a thing. I personally, you know, have got enough, I believe, enough toilet paper. They're rationing it, I believe, now again in certain places. Jody, you mentioned it, and then I saw it on the news today as well. So don't be scared, be prepared, and be smart. The other thing is, if you haven't managed to get it, maybe think about the fact that maybe your neighbor did, and maybe you can buy some off your neighbor, you know, get creative. Nyasha's saying, oh, I didn't know, I thought it had died down. Now, Nyasha, just so everybody knows, lives in Tobago, which is a little island just east of South America. And you are correct, Nyasha, the pandemic went down in the summer. But now we're going into the fall and it started to rise, and now we're into winter, and now it's standing almost upright. And as we go past Christmas, it will hopefully start, you know, coming down again. And the fact that hopefully the vaccine will be coming out pretty soon. I am pretty certain, if you are human, that some of you are still pretty stressed about what happened at the election, one way or the other. Doesn't matter which side you're on. Either, you know, you feel robbed, or else you feel you know, incensed that the transition isn't happening the way it's meant to, the way it was designed to. But, you know, unless you're out there doing something about it, let it go. They'll sort it out. I noticed that the courts have been doing, and you remember I said to you straight after the election, leave it up to the courts. The courts will decide whether there was a steal or not. You know, it's like they're the ones, they will have all the lawyers working on it and checking on it and double checking on it and everything else. And then judges will decide whether there was a steal or not. We don't have to worry about that. And so I look at it and go, it's really very difficult. And I personally cannot imagine how stressful it must be on both sides, quite honestly. I can't help wondering, and there's that part of me, you know, that I can't help wondering if maybe the president didn't think he was going to lose, so wasn't prepared to go and do something else. And some part of me goes, you know, he's a very strategic sort of person. So maybe the reason this is playing out the way it is because he's got to work out what to do. You know, what's he going to do? Where's he going to go? You know, is he going to get hit by court cases that could put him in jail? In which case, is he going to leave the country? You know, I'm pretty certain that all those things are factoring in. And yes, I found it amazing, you know, that there was the big march yesterday, and that was incredible. And so part of it may be, what is he going to do? Is he going to carry on politically being the thorn in the side of anybody that takes over from him? I don't know. We will find out. You know, I don't have to waste a lot of my brain power and my limited emotions on it. I just need to keep aware. And so I would encourage you to do the same. Be prepared for it to carry on being chaotic. All right, so isn't that amazing? Jody, who does a wonderful job on research as well as everything else, said on October the 31st, between October the 31st and November the 13th, Trinidad and Tobago, those are the two different islands, had a total of 312 cases between the two islands. That's pretty amazing. All right, now then, let's do another simple truth moment here. I've also noticed that my space was getting messy. All right, so do we have lots of reasons why? Yeah, I haven't been well. I've had a lot on my mind in terms of insurance and so forth, dealing with the fire. And, you know, Is any of that reckoning, I like to call it rationalization because they're rational lies. Any of those rationalizations making any difference to how tidy my space is. No. So the simple truth is, if my space is getting untidy, the only thing that changes that is if I do something. Make sense? That's the simple truth. Talking about it doesn't change it. I can talk about it here all day. It's still going to be messy when I've finished. You see, I need to get off my rump and go and do something about it. And, what I've done now is, I use my mirror in my bathroom as my planner now. I found out that you can write on a mirror with any dry erase pen and, you can just wipe it off. So I'm using it as my giant planner. And now what I'm doing is every day I'm working at tidying up a little bit more around in every room. And, I find that really helps. By the way, it's such rubbing it off the mirror. It's just like, okay, that's done. And you can do it with your fingers. You don't even need to have a special eraser. And, the other thing is, for example, I have to write, I don't have to, I am going to be writing a letter to my renovation people tonight. And I find that I get a lot of inspiration about things when I'm in my bathroom, putting on my makeup or cleaning my teeth or taking my medication. I don't know if any of you find that. So I found having a dry erase pen in my bathroom is a brilliant idea, because I just quickly write a note on there and then later on I tidy it up a bit. But, it's just like, it's so easy to do and I can just put it where I want it to be later. So I've got this mind map. All right, hang on a second. For anybody who might not know what a mind map is, it's so much easier if you can see it, right? But a mind map is where I go, okay, this is the letter that I'm going to be writing. And the first thing that I want to talk to them about is my microwave. Okay, and then the next thing is the shower, because I'm going to rebuild the shower. And then the next thing I have here is grab bars. It was interesting. I was talking to Cisco yesterday, one of my sons, and Cisco said to me, make sure when they rebuild your bathroom, they put, grab bars in. He said, because in 20 years' time, you're going to need them, Sal. Wasn't that kind of him? In 20 years' time, I'm going to need them. Yeah, right. But, I thought I hadn't thought about that. So that's a really good thing. So you understand, I've got this little mind map going on in my bathroom. And tonight I will write the letter and I will do all of that. Okay. Now, the shower is, I need to talk to the contractor, as to what level of shower I want. And I know that'll cost me extra money. Oh, the other thing I need to write to them about is their quote. That was also on the thing, because their quote is a little bit higher than the next guy. And I need to advise them of that and see if they'll drop it down a little bit, because I want to use them. And I'm pretty sure my insurance company will go for the lowest bid for obvious reason. But the other thing I wanted to make sure is that, we're comparing apples to apples. So I noticed that on one, it didn't mention re-wallpapering, whereas the other one did. So I said, does that include the wallpaper? Because it doesn't say that. And what the adjuster said is, don't worry, Sal, that's my job to make sure that they're all apples to apples in terms of what they're offering. So I went, okay, fine, I will leave you to it. Jeannie's saying, I've ordered various items for Christmas. Yes, for those of you going, I'm behind on Christmas, do something about it. Don't complain about it. Do something. Jeannie already has. By the way, Jeannie, my order's going in tomorrow. Ordered some various items for Christmas. Bars of soap, some shea butter, lock and lock containers, etc. Have had to cut down boxes, store things in the spare room. It's still a bit messy, yes, but that's okay. It's like there's a reason. Everybody's house gets a bit messy at Christmas. And I'm packaging more than one thing in each Christmas gift bag. Yeah. So this is the thing as well, which is, if you are beating up on yourself because you're behind on the Christmas stuff, do something. Or, leave it another week when the stress will be even worse. I'm amazed at how much Jodie's done in the way of getting baking done. But Jodie, I've now got the flour, so I'm going to start making some cookie dough as well. So thank you for that. And I really appreciate the fact that you are going, yeah, it's time for me to make cookie dough. I really don't have any excuse not to do it, right? By the way, I found that cooking puts in a lot of steps in a day. Have anybody else noticed that? You actually walk more than you think you do when you're cooking. It's amazing. Now then, again, I do this reminder every week. I'd like to remind you that everybody is entitled to their opinion. And just because they don't agree with yours doesn't make them wrong. I was actually amazed. It's amazing how that ripple effect happens, right? My sister actually wrote to me about something this week, and she said, yeah, and I know everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I went, wow. It's the first time I have ever heard that. And I wondered whether it is because anytime she criticizes somebody, I write back to her and I go, I'm a great believer that everybody's entitled to their opinion, even if it doesn't agree with mine. And suddenly I got it fed back to me, which is the ripple effect of what we do. Yes, Jodie's saying about cooking as well. I think, is this about the cooking or about what Jeannie said, Jodie? Anyway, she's saying, oh, good, that's fantastic. It'll be great for the mind too, therapeutic. I think both what Jeannie's doing with getting stuffs ready for Christmas bags and so forth. Oh, cookies, yeah, okay. Jeannie also said, I gave a girl at the vet who takes care of Misty a gift bag with a coffee mug, some hot chocolate mix, etc. She loved the things. Of course, anybody appreciates being appreciated. That's the simple truth, right? That's the simple truth. Everybody appreciates being appreciated. So, and you're very good at that, I've noticed. Over the months or years that I've known you, Jeannie, you are very good about making people feel valued, and that's a very important thing. Now then, I want to go back on the simple truth, and I'm not sure if we discussed a similar one, but I'm not sure if we discussed this one. And Jodie, you will be able to tell me because this one came from you, which was that I caught Jodie saying, I will never deserve the blessing of you two, meaning Lauren and myself, who are part of her personal support group. And when I read that, I stopped her immediately and hit her over the head with a 2x4 and said, how dare you say such a thing? How dare you say that you will never deserve the blessing? You've already got it. Whatever you've done in your life, you've already got it, so therefore you deserve it. Hi, Erin. Always a pleasure to see you, honey. And so, but how many of you understand the simple truth of when we start saying things like, I will never deserve the blessing of you two, you're actually going against the universe, because the universe has already given you that blessing. So if you start saying, I will never deserve it, you're actually asking for it to go away. And I have no wish to go away, Jodie. I really want to lift a single finger, but I will just put up a few. I have no wish to go away. So please, that's why I needed to talk to Jodie. So be careful what you talk about, people. We've talked about this before. Now, hi there, Laura. You didn't even have to tell me what your name was. I knew. I actually just read the name that you come in under, and I already knew. And only later did I see that you put your name. And how are you, honey? And how are things in Ohio? I hear they're spiking pretty badly in Ohio, if I understood that correctly. And Jeannie's saying to Jodie, you're worth everything. Exactly. And Jody answered, Jeannie, thank you. And the same for all the Dear Mama Sal people. Exactly. And so Jody now said, Sal, you're absolutely right. That was my terrible wording. Oh, well, how about that? You're actually in Oklahoma now? Now, why did I think you were in Ohio? Okay, but you were there in July. I got it half right. So the simple truth is not that Jody said it, but I want you all to think about how many things do you say? How about it's incredible? Well, if you say something is incredible, you understand it means it's lacking credibility. But it's not how we use the word, is it? Oh, I had an incredibly great time, and it's like, basically you're saying you're lying. So think about what you say a lot more. Right? Ask for what you want and say what you mean. Just be more aware of it. And that's it. I asked Jody to remind me, and she did, to put a note to go back to some of the slides that I had for last week, because I was celebrating the life of Sean Connery and Alex Trebek. But one of the quotes that I didn't get to that I thought you guys would enjoy was from Sean Connery. And he said, some age, others mature. So how many of you agree that he aged really well? And, it's just like, I love it when that is the thing. Some people age and others mature. So do you think that you are aging or are you maturing? Somebody said to me, it's so unfair. Men seem to age so much more gracefully than women. Well, I don't think that's true anymore. I think it used to be. I think women are much more aware that they don't need to age the way that they did. Now, that doesn't mean we need to have facelifts and do all sorts of things. What it means is, we don't have to feel old and be old. We can continue to do the things that keep us younger. And I look at that and go, it is really important that we understand the difference. And if we don't, the simple truth is, if we don't do the work to keep our bodies, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it, right? And so if I don't do the work, for example, on the Wii or however else I choose to exercise my body, if I don't do it, if I say, oh, well, it's too cold out there, it's not good for me to be out there when it's that cold. By the way, that cold here in southern British Columbia is sort of spring to the rest of you. I know that those of you in central parts of the US, your idea of cold and mine are very different. You understand we get an inch of snow in southern British Columbia, and it's a snow day at 2 inches. So to me, it's really important that we remember the simple truth. If we don't use our bodies, we will lose use of the muscles. Now, Nyasha, I know that you are trying to use your elliptical more. I just wondered, have you been doing that? Because I know you wanted your body to work better for you. And so my question is, have you done anything? Did you and Kimmy get together in terms of maybe encouraging one another? Yeah. That foam is so good. Now, I found a really nice quote from Willie Nelson. And, I don't think I've ever quoted Willie Nelson on here before, but I thought you guys would enjoy this one. Willie Nelson said, the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. Simple truth. Because we know the first mouse will have been caught in the mousetrap, so the second mouse gets the cheese. And, there's a lovely story again. If you think about Willie Nelson, did all that he needed to do to make an awful lot of money, and then, smoked it and drank it away, and then changed his life, and then ended up getting caught up in a tax thing and lost all his money and started again. It's just like, you got to give that guy credit, right? It's not about the bad things that happen to us. It's, do you have the courage to get up and start again? That is what the simple truth is. We all have bad things happen, and some of them are of our own making. I understand that. But, do you have the courage to say, that's past. Now let me get up and start again. Erin's saying, I have a little bit of good news for once, and probably for 5 months. I don't have, you haven't had any more UTIs. Oh, and if you don't have any more UTIs, you're not on antibiotics anymore. That's awesome. I'm really happy for you, because I know you've had a rough time with that. Nyasha's saying to Jody, because they're having a little conversation going on there. Yes, Nyasha, what we say, we just be more aware of it. And, I'm amazed how many people will say something like, oh, I'd rather break a leg than do X, Y, and Z. And I'm going, really, that's not a good thing to say. Or, I'd rather have my back teeth pulled than do so-and-so. It's like, really? Excellent. Nyasha is now talking to me about that she and Kimmy have been interacting her, and you're encouraging her in her daily exercise. Now, are you doing yours? Because I would love you to start giving us reports on that in the fitness group. That's what it's there for. So you can say, I did 10 minutes today, or whatever it is that you did. And by the way, you're not in competition with anybody. It's not like, oh, I've got to do an hour. No, if you do 10 minutes, you need to get the pleasure of letting the fitness group know you did it. Hi, Kimmy, I'm talking about you. You must hear me. Because that tells everybody that you're not just talking about it, you're doing something about it. And that is the simple truth, all right? To take the time to be accountable. Yes, I have done something about it. That is very important. Jody is saying it's a great thing to keep awareness of it. Changes the way you think and speak, Nyasha. That's my experience. Anyway, I'm amazed at the incredible sleep that Jody and Lauren have managed to get. And Sandy. I want to give Sandy a heads up on this one as well. Because once they got accountable for reporting their sleep, they actually have been sleeping so much better. Jeannie's saying, look what has happened to us, Sal. And we try and be careful with our speech. And God loves us and wants us to learn more. Yes, we know. Erin's saying, I have a good friend, and right now she always says to me to change your words and it'll change your thoughts. And you will change your outlook, I believe. Absolutely. It doesn't really matter that your watch is charging, Kimmy. You know what time you go to bed, and you've got a pretty good idea what time you go to sleep. In other words, I know there's probably an hour between when I crawl into bed and when I'm actually zonked out. So, also think about when you charge your watch. I have found out, Kimmy, that charging a watch at night isn't a good idea, right? So I charge my watch while I am watching television at night, because I'm not doing a lot then anyway. Have you thought about that? When you're watching a movie, charge your watch. I charge my watch while I'm having a shower and putting on my makeup. I've got this watch, the battery doesn't last very long, not like my previous watch. So I literally have to charge it more often. It would be a good time for me to be charging my watch right now. Good. Kimmy's saying hers is charging right now. Let me see what what mine is at right now. So again, don't charge it at night when you want to know how your sleep is doing. Charge it at different time. And let me see. The moment I charged it this morning up to 99%, and it is down to 88. So I can just put it onto charge while I continue. 1 minute on the launch. Okay, that's looking pretty good, people. So if any of you want to watch the launch, turn your television on right now. If not, I will tell you how it's going. Thanks, Sandy. I appreciate you keeping tabs on that. And for those of you wondering why we're watching a launch, it is the first manned SpaceX launch. And somebody who, you can probably tell that charging my watch is not easy. Hang on 1 second. You have to get it in exactly the right place. 30, 29. Seriously. Please just charge. There we go. All right, 12, 11, 8, 7, 6, 5. There he goes. Stressful. I'm not even in it, and it's stressful. It's called resilience. Well, so far everything's awesome. Now, you know, I don't know about you, but isn't it history making that I think about in my lifetime? I got to watch the first man on the moon. Oh, I got to watch Gagarin go up, first of all. And then, you know, all those initial Sputnik launches, you know, and all those sort of things. And then we got to see a man on the moon in my lifetime. And now a private company puts up men into orbit. And how many of you, I'm hoping, it's the second SpaceX with people on board? I didn't know that, Sandy. They've taken men up there previously? Nyasha is saying, so I feel this way before my living nightmare. I'm so excited to be able to exercise again. There's so many things I wanted to do back then that I couldn't, and now it's easy. I am so happy. Well, this is the whole thing. That, you know, the more you do, the better. By the way, Jodie's giving us an update as well. They're traveling at 262 meters a second. Wow. Totally. I just think it's so exciting. Sandy, did I miss a previous one? I didn't know that. So I'm just about to drink that. Okay, coffee's finished. Time for the flavored water. Well, there you go. You see, Sandy? How did I miss that one? I don't know. But anyway, I'm very, very excited, and I thought we should just acknowledge it. Simple fact, I'm not perfect. By the way, I wanted to also make a point of saying, yes, I've had an improvement because I changed what I was doing. The simple fact is, if I keep doing what I've always done, I will keep getting the same results. So yes, I've been on the Wii this week. Yes, I've been food prepping this week. What are the chances that I won't keep to the routine of meal prepping and also of not doing the Wii every day? Pretty good. But you see, I know that if that's what I do, then I will pay the price again. And the good news is, thanks to some incredible teaching that Jody gave me early on in my I'm pre-diabetic. I have no wish to become diabetic, but I am what they call, I'm in that little gaps between being normal and being diabetic. I'm I'm in that little area there. And it is my goal to stay, there or get back into normal again. I think it's probably at my age, probably difficult for me to get back to normal again unless I do really serious stuff like Jody does. It's not the first this is the first fully operational mission. Okay, that's different from what Sandy's saying. So you'll be able to see it 101 times on YouTube in any minute now, Nyasha. So what I would suggest is wait until the broadcast is over or whatever and watch it later, because it'll be there. And in the meantime, we're watching it live. So, we'll keep you updated if anything. It's live on YouTube. Okay, thank you. So if you can watch it and still be part of the program, I'd appreciate that. That's what we're doing. So how many of you know that for me to continue to get the benefits of the we and food prepping, I need to continue to do it? And not shoot myself in the foot too much. I did such a good job of controlling my blood sugars yesterday that when I went to bed, I allowed myself 4 of those little packets of the Dole fruit gummies, 28 of them I had, and still came in at 6.4 or 114 or whatever it was this morning. So this is like, when I control my intake, I can have those treats. Erin's saying, I watch a channel on YouTube. You can watch the Earth from the space station and watch them orbit around. It's so cool. They put music behind it and it makes you realize what a small part of this. Yeah, I think that's wonderful. A small part of this world we are. Kibby's saying, exercise is bringing my blood glucose down, but I still have to take, the pills. Well, I've managed to, as you know, Jody watched her diet enough that she got off the insulin even. I think that's incredible. So I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but did I talk to you about what I've started to do when I make omelets now? And just so that you know, I'm trying to make a point of adding more vegetables to everything. Some of you might have seen I put up a quick picture of, I was meal prepping vegetables. And so what I do is I bake vegetables and then I eat them during the week. All right, so I pre-prep a container full of vegetables, and then all week I add my vegetables. Now, for example, I add them to all sorts of things. If I'm making an omelet, I'll throw the eggs into the blender. I will then throw in some vegetables and some cheese and whatever, and then I will blend it up like a smoothie. And, it's amazing because it tastes great. Oh, I've even been known to throw in some bacon at the same time, right? And I just blend it up like a smoothie. Did I talk to you guys about it? Because I really recommend it. It's just like, it doesn't look like it's vegetables and it doesn't look like it's healthy at all. It just looks like an omelet. Sometimes it changes color a bit depending on how many green vegetables you've got in there. But I want to tell you, it just really is a great way of taking in more vegetables if you don't have them. So how about the fact that I've been in lockdown now for another week? How's the stress level? How many of you are in lockdown at the moment, other than myself? Is anybody else in lockdown? The reason I ask is because it's really important that you do things to keep yourself and your mind and your body active if you are, because it's very easy to get depressed when you're in lockdown. Okay, so Jody is done a little bit more research, of course. Sandy was saying that there was a two-people mission that went up in the spring. But Jody is saying, yes, Sandy, but I was reading the heading on CNN said it was the first fully operational launch. So I don't know how it differed. I'm certain that we will find out because I know Jody. It doesn't matter if it comes in tomorrow. She will find out why it's different. And I will make sure I put it up on Facebook for everybody. Jeannie's saying that in terms of being in lockdown, where she had to go out for milk, tissues, etc., but they went very early, senior hours. Yes, be careful or go very late. I found that if you go to somewhere like if you have to go to Walmart, for example, go after 9 o'clock. The place is, it's almost empty. And it is the best time to go shopping because, seniors hours was great, very few people. But that's if you get up at senior hours. I don't do senior hours. I'm not a morning person. So I really recommend for those of you who like me are evening people or night people, go shopping after 9 o'clock. It is also very few people. Why? Everybody's home, they've fed their kids. In fact, some of you may find even after about 7 or 8. Okay, they now got pictures of the guys, the astronauts. One of them looks like he's fast asleep. I'm sure he isn't, but anyway. 7:25 a.m. I'm not even awake at that time. So let's think, because you guys are creative, all right? If you get locked down again, what simple truths are there, all right, about what do you need to do to look after yourself? All right, Nyasha is saying, it's unfortunate, but I knew where my diabetes came from. It's me not being able to drink lots of water before my life changed, but I accepted it. I cannot do anything. I've got really good news for you. I really have to tell you something, Nyasha. I have a big jug of water. I just want to let you know this. A big jug of water, and I throw in 2 slices of orange. I know you can get oranges where you are, and 2 slices of lemon, and I let it sit all day. And if you notice it changes color slightly, can you see it's got a slight not clear to it? And it tastes great. I also throw 1 piece of mint in there, but it's just like, I just want to tell you, it makes the water really tasty. And also, Nyasha, I found that warming it up, I can drink twice as much if I have it beside me and it's warm. I don't know why. I am not big onto very cold water. So if I will drink it without thinking if it's beside me on the computer and it's warm. And as you all know, I also now take all my pills and I concentrate. I take 1 pill at a time, and I probably take about 6 different pills in the morning. I take 1 at a time, and I really chug-a-lug a lot of water. I can drink a whole bottle of water just taking my pills in the water now. My pills in the morning now. So a great thought. This is another quote from last week that I didn't get to, but this was again from Sean Connery, and he said, I met my wife through playing golf. She's French and couldn't speak English, and I couldn't speak French. So there was little chance of us getting involved into any sort of boring conversations, and that's why we got married really quickly. And by the way, they were still married when he passed, Now then, a simple truth. I just want to tell you that for the first time in a long time, I saw an ad that moved my soul. And it is a 1 minute, so simple, but I recommend to any of you who have any fear at all, Google the Johnny Walker ad. I'm going to put it down here. Hang on. Let me just get the link to it. Hold on a second, because I know I kept the link somewhere. Apparently not. So let me get it again. All right, and it's the one you're looking for is this one. Just hold on a second, and I will get the link for those of you who are on the oops. Hang on, be patient with me. Okay, for those of you who are on the broadcast, this is it. Hope they allow that to stay. And it's a 1 minute ad. And if ever you go through fear this week or any other, put this on for 1 minute and tell me if that doesn't change your mentality. Now, for those of you who want to know what is it, Sal, it is an incredible version of Stand By Me by Brittany Howard. And I've never heard of Brittany Howard before, but I want to tell you something. Her rendition of, that they have in this clip was so moving to me. It brought tears to my eyes, and not many things do that. Literally, I had tears running out of my eyes when I listened to her, the passion with which she sings this. And it's just 1 minute, and it just was like, wow. And so, hi, Kez, good to see you. I didn't know that. All right, so Kez is saying, I heard on the morning show that putting citrus in your water helps you absorb the water better and you pee less. That would probably be why I'm waking up less in the night then, Kez. Thank you for that. Simple truth. I didn't know that. Yeah. So I do know that I felt a lot better, and I'm drinking a lot more water now that I'm putting just literally a little, a couple of, I just make a jug full, and my aim is to make sure that I finish that jug every day. Jeannie's saying many Portuguese and Spaniards like flavored water. I think, we all like flavored water. There's a big market for it everywhere now. But that's a really simple one. And I tried to think for Nyasha, because she's in a country that doesn't have a lot of the fancy stuff that some other people do. So Nyasha, very simple. Very, very simple. And it's good for your body. All right, Jody's saying, excuse me, I'm drinking a lot of plain seltzer. That's just sparkled water, right? With a splash of sugar-free juice. Yes. It's the splash of something. Even if you buy some sort of other juice and just throw a little bit in there, exactly. And if you've got sugar-free juice, that would be ideal. So again, we all know the simple truth that drinking more water is better for our bodies, right? I mean, this is not rocket science. We all knew that. Are you doing it? And if the answer is no, I knew I needed to drink more water. And so I went, well, enough talking about it. How are you going to do it? By the way, did anybody go and check that ad from Johnny Walker? I just want to know if anybody actually went and checked it. Because I want to know if I'm the only one that it brought tears out of me. I mean, it was just amazing. I would recommend, by the way, that you copy and paste that link somewhere. So whenever you need a boost, you can just go and play that again. Because Erin did, and it was beautiful. Yeah, isn't it amazing? All right, so Jody's saying that diet soda is kryptonite for her, and she's really working on reducing her intake. Yes. All right, so Sandy's saying, I'm not on my computer, but I'll watch it later. You won't be sorry, I can assure you, Sandy. And you'll probably understand why it made me cry. Just the passion of it, it was just like, wow. You know what I mean? I'm a great believer that when you have passion, it shows. People understand it. You can, I don't know about you, but you can feel people who are passionate about things. Some people are just doing it because, and then there are others that just are passionate. And the way that lady sings, I mean, the song itself is brilliant, we know, but it was just like, wow. Yeah, she was talking about it just now, Kimmy, that now actually she was talking about the exercise you were doing. She didn't talk about hers, that's true. I would really encourage you both to let us know what you're doing on the fitness group, because we want to encourage you to do that. All right, so Niash is saying, my family is fed up with me speaking about the transition of my new life, the things I've never been able to do. I'm so surprised, excited, and shocked to know that my body was so under stress. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And your mind, Niasha. It wasn't just your body. It was your mind as well. So the combination of those two, you've done so well. So here's the whole thing. The simple truth is that beating up on yourself doesn't fix things. Beating up on myself for my weight gain didn't fix anything. Beating up on myself for my blood glucose not spike, but increase, really, that doesn't do anything. I needed to change something. I needed to do it. No, I didn't need any more reasons why it was okay. Well, because of the stress, because of the fire, because you've moved, because of this. And I just went, no, those are all excuses. The reason I have put on weight, the reason my blood sugar went up is I have not been eating the right things. Simple truth. Simple truth. And when I can own that simple truth, I'm better. All right, I increase. So have I had a lot of fun doing it? All right, more than you probably realize. Quite honestly, more than you realize. And in terms of stress and and food, one of my favorite quotes, and I'm certain that some of you have heard it before, but it's worth repeating whenever we talk about food, which is stressed, spelled backwards, is desserts. Coincidence? I think not. So my trick now is that I eat my piece of bread early in the morning so that I can make sure that I can work it off during the day. And then if I've been good all during the day, I know I can take my gummies at night. It's just like, I've got this little plan. Or how about this one? Everyone thinks that I'm over dramatic when I'm stressed. You know, when an octopus is stressed, it eats itself. Now that is over dramatic. um, I like this one as well. And it says, when I get a headache, I take 2 aspirin and keep away from children, just like the bottle tells me to. And, you know, we all agree that if stress burned calories, I'd be a supermodel. And for those of you, some of you will relate to this. So you mean to tell me that a stress ball isn't for throwing at people who stress me out? And this one, Jody, I think you'll appreciate it. It says, cupcakes are muffins that believed in miracles. And how many of you can relate to this one? I deserve a medal for making it through this week without stabbing somebody with a fork. Yeah, I'm here. How about this one? Some people manage stress with yoga, meditation, and long walks. I manage stress with food, sarcasm, and swearing. So, I look at it and go, you know, life is how we take it, how we see it, how we react to it. The simple truth is we've all got stress. And quite honestly, most of the people in this room right now have got more stress than most people understand. And I am so proud of you. I really am so proud of you. You continue to be the whole reason for the broadcast. I say that because it's really important for you to understand that every day you get up and make a decision. The simple truth is every day you get up and make a decision. Am I going to make a difference in my life today, or am I going to use the excuses? And that is a choice. That is a choice we all make. Not just you, everybody makes that choice every day. Some people get up every day with a whole lot more problems than you've got and still make incredibly meaningful advances in their day. And you guys, and you know who you are, you motivate me. You know, when I'm not feeling like, yesterday I wasn't feeling that great at all, in fact, for 48 hours. And, you know, I still got out of bed and I still got through. Now, one day I stayed in my jammies. The day before yesterday, I stayed in my jammies. I gave myself a day off. But yesterday, even though I still wasn't feeling great, I got out of bed and I did my half hour of yoga and I did a couple of other things before I gave myself permission to rest again. And so it's all about the personal choices that we make. The simple truth is we are as healthy as we choose to be within the confines of whatever medical issues we're dealing with. And so I want you to remember that. If you go into lockdown, you're as lonely as you choose to be. If you have a computer or a smartphone or whatever, you're as lonely as you choose to be. You could use that time incredibly well, or you could moan and groan about it and say it's not fair. Your choice, not mine. One will stress you out, the other will give you great accomplishment. And so I look at it and go, the simple truths are quite simple. I want to lose weight. I need to eat less and eat better. How do I eat less? I meal prep. How do I eat better? I meal prep. And then what can I add to that? I can add exercise. All right. Now, do I have to have the Wii to do the exercise? No. I could do that just by putting on a walk in the countryside on YouTube and just walk. You know, I might not want to go out and do it because it's pretty cold out there, but I can do it inside. By the way, I made a point, even though I wasn't going outside to walk, I made a point of opening up the door and getting plenty of fresh air into the apartment. So I have done what I can to help me. And I think I have. No, I know I have. I already have results. So I would ask you all to remember, we cannot control all of the stress. We will still have stress coming at us. What we control is what we do with it, how we limit it, how we control it, and then what we do to make our bodies healthier to be able to cope with it. I can assure you, I have some muscles that tell me I did some good work. But you know what was surprising was that the Wii machine has a way of calibrating what you're doing, and it all the time is telling you, you know, how you're improving. And I really could not believe how much I improved even in a couple of days. So I would suggest to you, if we keep doing the right things regularly, Jody, I think you're a prime example of this, right? That you know, the progress you've made in a year. You know, I know you went down and then you went up again, and then now you're back down again. How far are you away now from your lowest weight that you were in the last year? It can't be that far because you've been doing some really good work. And I know that you will have a wonderful Thanksgiving. All right. And so you will expect to go up a bit more. But then you have that gap between Thanksgiving and Christmas to be able to control it again. And you were the master to teach me that I choose how much control I take. You're only 20 pounds away from the lowest you were at this year. Because you put on quite a bit, right? So I am, let me think what I am now. I think I'm about 13 pounds away from my lowest that I was. You put on 38, yes. I put on about 13. No, I put on 23. And I'm now, I put on 23 pounds. And now I'm down, I'm 13 pounds away now. So I've managed to get rid of some of it, and now I'm working on the rest of it. So the question is, how much control do we want to have? That's a simple truth, right? And as you taught me, Jody, and still enjoy the good days. All right, so still enjoy Thanksgiving because you know exactly what to do. You taught me how to do it. And I thank you for that at a level that I really don't have words. It was so funny because I'm literally going, okay, fine. Do you want to carry on being upset about it, or do you want to start doing something about it? Because you know what to do. Jody taught you. And as Jody so rightly says, my job is to maintain the discipline despite the lymphedema. Yeah. And Jody, I have to tell you, and I'm not quite sure, but I think I know what's done it. Touch wood. Touch wood. I have not had edema problems. That's the swelling of my feet since the fire time. And I think because I bought new shoes, right? I had to buy new shoes. And so what I found, Jody, just so that you know, that buying shoes that have more support underneath them, these actually are less than some, but my other ones have a lot of support under the heel. For some reason, seem to have really helped. And the other thing is because I couldn't find shoes that fit me well at my size, I found that going and buying men's shoes, one size smaller, but they're wider, worked magically well. These are men's shoes, not women's shoes. Now, the question is it because of the shoes, or is it because I've been sleeping on better mattresses with better pillows? Or is it both? All I know is that since I have had the fire, I have not had problems with my feet swelling. Okay, so Jody's saying new shoes probably help the circulation too, which is what I believe. Less swelling, also less hip pain with different mattresses. Exactly. So all of these little things, simple truths. And so I ask all of you, think about this. There are simple solutions to all of our problems, but they only work if you use them. All right? So my simple fact was that when I was a smoker, the way I gave up was to vape for 50% of the time, and then 75% of the time, and then I quit. And that was 7 years ago. To me, little changes in our lives make big differences. And the simple truth is we have to want to make those changes. I could have carried on using the excuses that you all would have accepted for a long time. A long time. Well, all the stress of the fire, and I'm dealing with the insurance people now. And now I've got to rebuild and all the permits and da. You see, the simple truth is none of that really matters. If I want to change my weight, I need to change what I'm eating. Simple. If I want to bring my blood glucose down, I need to do what we need to do. This is DearMamaSal saying, the simple truth is, thank you for all being here and helping me over the last month. You probably will never quite know how much your support of me during this time has really helped me. Jody, I will never have words to thank you for all that you do to help us here at DearMamaSal. And I'd like to give a shout out again to Lynn, who is the person that is busy playing with the banner pictures that we have on Facebook and things like that. She's still playing with them, bless her heart. And it's amazing that somebody wants to help me to that degree. I'd like to know before we quit, what was it about this broadcast that made a difference for you? What was your aha moment? I like to ask because then I know which clip would be worth taking out and sharing with other people who might not have been here. So let me know, if you will, what it is that made a difference for you. And if you get a chance, maybe leave a comment about that on the replay when you get a moment. As I said, it's really important that people understand when there are things in the broadcast that mean a lot to people, because that is how people find out that it's worth coming to listen to the broadcast. So I look at it and go, for me, the simple truth was, I'm as healthy as I choose to be. And I chose to be better this week, and I'm proud of that. And I am proud of the fact that I have a group of people around me that care enough about me I am grateful beyond measure that I know how to fix what is wrong and that it is fixable. And Jody's saying the funny quotes on stress were a great way to laugh about it. And talking about the simple truth, streamlining our thinking. I think, the simple truth is it's a lot easier than we think. We just have to want to do it. All right? It's a lot easier than you think. We just need to do it. We need to want to do it badly enough to make a difference. Or else you can continue to give all the excuses. Jody, I asked you last week, I believe, are these just truths, or am I just using these excuses to carry on the bad behavior? I believe I asked you during a broadcast last week. And, I gave that a lot of thought, and I went, I've had enough of the excuses. They are very valid excuses, but it's not helping me get better. I'm going to change. This is DearMamaSal saying, big hugs to you all. Remember to look after one another. And thank you, Kimmy and Nyasha, for working with each other. It's really important to have a buddy in this whole process. Sandy, great work on the sleep. I've been noticing it and your resting heart rate. I'm really aware that you are so accountable now. And I love it because it shows me how much you care about your health. This is DearMamaSal saying, thank you for being here. Thank you for caring for one another. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.